on your comfort level. If you'd like to turn off your cameras, you may. If you'd like to leave them on, perfect. Whichever is your comfort. We will have the chat box open throughout the evening, so please feel free to ask any questions at any time throughout the chat, and we'll answer those questions. Some topics may be covered, but certainly we'll try to respond to anything that we can. And so to get the evening started, we have a lot of information, so I want to get going so we don't lose our time. And so I'm going to first introduce our interim assistant dean and director of the online programs, Thomas Rosenberger.
Thank you so much, Allison. And I don't believe Dean Willett is here yet. So if you do see her join, if you wouldn't mind letting me know so that she can make a special remark to the crowd tonight. So I want to tell the folks joining us that our number one goal for this hour together is to offer you a glimpse into the walls of Albany Law School. And you might be able to tell I'm not really there in that big lecture hall we have right now, but this is our main lecture hall, and it acts as our moot courtroom on our campus. So we know that finding the right community, finding the right program fit is a process. And so we're here to tell you about us. So we're the nation's oldest independent law school, and we have innovation in our roots. In fact, when Albany Law was founded in 1851, the goal was to create a uniquely structured educational program that would better equip the lawyers of the time with the skills and competencies that they needed. Prior to this, the standard prep for bar law practice and admission to the bar was a legal clerkship. So with innovation at our core, we went on to become the first law school in the nation to offer a fully online graduate program in the booming field of cybersecurity and data privacy, no less. And we haven't stopped there. Ben, if you want to put up the slide that shows our current online program offerings, that would be great. What you'll see once he does so is that our broad portfolio and our broadening portfolio, I should say, of programs includes, as I said, cybersecurity and data privacy. It includes financial compliance and risk management. It includes health law and healthcare compliance. It includes human resources, law leadership, and policy. And coming in 2022, we're super excited to announce, a long time coming, I should say, for Albany Law, is an online graduate program in government affairs and advocacy. So what we've done for the first portion of the program is we've invited the faculty who lead each of our program areas to help articulate the value of their programs for practitioners working in those fields. So welcome to the faculty program directors. And we will start with Associate Dean.
Thomas, Allison, I just want to let you know that Dina Lett just hopped on.
Oh, wonderful.
She just jumped on if you wanted to have her say a few words.
Wonderful. Welcome, Dean Willett. So we were just getting started, and I want to give you the floor to welcome our guests tonight, if you'd like to do so.
Sure. Hi, everybody. So glad to be here and to have you here with us at Albany Law in this virtual format. I think you're going to find that our online graduate programs are practical and useful and are flexible. And we have some wonderful students, and we hope that you will decide to join our community as you pursue advancement in your careers. So welcome to everybody, and thank you to Tom and Allison and Nicole and the whole team for putting this together, and to our faculty directors who work so hard to create just really spectacular programs. So thank you all.
Thank you, Dean Willett. And you probably missed it, but I just went into, despite the fact that the admissions team doesn't want me to go into our rich history and heritage, I started with 1851. So you missed that part, but thanks for joining us tonight. And I know you're very busy. We'll let you go if you'd like, but you could stay if you want.
I'll stay and listen a little bit.
Okay, sounds good. So I was just introducing Associate Dean for Strategic Initiatives and Associate Professor of Law, Dean Anthony Haynes, who is the Faculty Program Director for the Cybersecurity and Data Privacy Program. And appears as though Dean Haynes is joining us from his car tonight. Thanks,
yes,
Dean Haynes.
Yes, I am. It has been a crazy day for Dean Haynes. Hello.
Sure, I know it has. So I wanted to ask you, aside from following in the tradition of innovation, which I mentioned a moment ago, tell us why Albany Law went into the online graduate space. What did you intend for your first program, the Cyber and Data Privacy Program, to do? What impact did you want it to have for the industry, and has it?
So in 2015, Dean Ouellette and I were discussing Albany Law School expanding its then 160 odd years of education to students who may not be able to physically be present on campus. They may be around the world, they may have working and family commitments that don't allow them to really attend school full time. And we looked at my background before being a law professor, I was a computer science professor, and we looked at the industry demands. We did a survey, and it turned out that there's a high degree of interest in the area of cybersecurity, law, and policy. And so that became the genesis of figuring out how we could develop that curriculum at the law school.
And things certainly haven't stopped there. The curriculum continues to develop almost on a daily basis as data privacy laws evolve, not only here in the US, but on the global stage. We're constantly updating our curriculum and putting on free webinars. So very excited about that. Thank you for that. I think next I'll move on to, for the Financial Compliance and Risk Management Program, our faculty program director is Professor Christine Chung. Christine, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good, nice to see you.
You as well.
I want to ask you about the evolution as well on the financial and that side of that industry. Things are moving so quickly on the technology front, whether you're a lawyer or not working in this space. So with the adoption and evolution of things like non-fungible tokens, smart contracts seems to be the buzzword of the week on the blockchain, which so many people don't even understand that. I'm still grappling with it myself. Given the speed of change on the technology front, how do our faculty keep up with their courses?
That's a really good question. I mean, we designed our program to be of practical use to people in the field today. So we've drawn our faculty from the ranks of practitioners. And so, for example, Professor Hoffman, one of our faculty members and an alumna of our school, is a managing associate general counsel at Western Union, and she talks about blockchain in her course, which is a lot of sort of financial technology. So we intentionally have brought faculty together with that practical experience, and we of course also bring students together with practical experience, and that combination is what helps to make our courses useful to people in the field and people looking to grow their careers.
That's actually a good point. So our classes are intentionally designed for both lawyers and non-lawyers in the same virtual class, if you will. So people often ask, well, how does that work? How do you grade? Like different skill sets, different backgrounds? And the answer is it works, because the lawyers aren't the only ones that have something to offer. Oftentimes you have career professionals who have more of the practical, the industry perspective. They need to bone up on the legal side. And so bringing these two sides, so to speak, together in the same classroom actually creates a very rich environment. Mm-hmm. Thank you for mentioning that. And the other question I had for you tonight, Professor Chung, is, do you feel that the Financial Compliance and Risk Management Program is only suited for people climbing the corporate ladder in the financial industry, or is there more broad applicability?
That's another really good question. I would say that, it definitely, we have designed our courses. So, some of them are technical issues having to do with the financial services industry. We've designed a number of our courses to be useful across our online programs generally. So for example, we have a current schedule of several courses that deal with the role of the compliance officer. And that role is not limited to the financial services industry. So for example, that course addresses this particular thing called the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which says you can't bribe overseas people. And that act is enforced on an industry neutral basis. So if you look at to see who gets charged and sued, it's biotech, it's health services, healthcare generally, it is financial services. It is just like companies that build big infrastructure projects in overseas, overseas where bribes can happen. So our courses are really designed not just to address the financial services industry, but to develop cross-industry skills that people can use in their chosen field of expertise.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And this actually brings me to the health program because there's similarities there as well, where, as I get more intimately familiar with the curriculum, I'm sort of becoming an expert in all things, you could say. I'm realizing that there's health law courses that also teach concepts and laws that go beyond the health space. So it's really interesting that we're able to do that. Thank you, Professor.
And I wanted to add one thing. I think, Tom,
Yep.
we've talked about the fact that, we have a student who's taken our compliance officer courses, and that student has already been able to leverage that work to work in sort of corporate compliance generally, not specific with respect to financial services. So we're already seeing students able to take what they've learned in one of our programs and to leverage that into, again, whatever particular area they choose to focus in, because like how to do an internal investigation or how to ensure compliance with industry neutral statutes are not skills that are limited to financial services. Each one of our programs touches upon those issues.
Yeah, great point. Thank you for bringing that up. That just happened this past week, I think.
Yes.
We love to see that. Thank you so much. So next, for the health law and healthcare compliance program, we have Professor Evelyn Tenenbaum, professor of law at Albany Law School, but she's also professor of bioethics at Albany Medical College. Welcome, Evelyn. Professor Tenenbaum, I should say. As we see a variety of backgrounds, my question for you is about the student body. As we see a variety of backgrounds in our student body, what are some of the various roles that folks working in the health space, which of course is a huge component of the economy, right? So wide, the jobs that people can have in healthcare. What are the types of roles that people come into our program with, and what are the types of roles they hope to seek as a result of completing our program?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Approximately 20% of the entire U.S. economy is spent on healthcare, and this percentage is expected to continue to grow. Students have registered for our degree to obtain an advance in healthcare administration. Other students are deciding whether to pursue a law degree or interested in positions in risk management and healthcare compliance. We've even had a few MDs look into joining our program. One paralegal is using this degree to advance in her law firm. Many law firms now have attorneys who specialize in health law. We also have a couple of students who want to decide whether to pursue a law degree. And in fact, I believe one has already applied for admission to the law school. And that's just a small sampling of the many opportunities that this degree can offer.
And just like we said earlier, putting lawyers and non-lawyers in the classroom together creates a more rich experience. So too does the variety of backgrounds, whether you're a lawyer or not, where you come from. You might be a nurse, you might be an administrator, right? And so that creates a really rich dialogue in the virtual classroom as well.
Yeah, in fact, we've had students who've said that this is such an excellent program, not only because they get to meet professors who are actually working in the field and can give them new perspectives, but also because the other students in the program give them an opportunity to get different perspectives from other professionals in the healthcare field.
Which really is what graduate education is all about, right?
That's right.
It's bringing together. Yeah. So speaking of, you mentioned faculty. We have some really top-notch faculty in your program. That's true for all of the programs, but tell us about a few of them, if you will.
Yeah, Adam Katz teaches a course on the False Claims Act. He's an assistant United States attorney and the civil healthcare fraud coordinator for the entire Northern District of New York, which is comprised of 32 counties in upstate and central New York. He's responsible for leading investigations and civil prosecutions involving financial fraud against the federal government. Many of his cases involve fraud committed in connection with federal healthcare programs. So you'll learn about the False Claims Act from a professor who is actively involved in these cases. And a big bonus of having Adam Katz is he has lots of entertaining examples for the things he teaches and lots of fascinating stories. And I know because I've heard many of them. Nelson Scheingold is counsel to the New York State Comptroller, a state agency that has approximately 2,800 employees. He's also head of investigations for that agency, and he teaches a fascinating course in conducting investigations. which focuses on the practical and legal tools involved in conducting fraud, corruption, and abuse investigations. Brienne Goodman is the Director of Risk Management and Patient Safety for Cambridge Health Alliance in Boston. She has a law degree, actually a law degree from Albany Law School, which is great, a nursing degree, and a bioethics master's degree, and she teaches workplace health and safety in the healthcare setting. So who better to learn about healthcare, health and safety than someone who's Director of Risk Management and Patient Safety. So those are three examples of the many fascinating professors and very experienced professors that we have in our program.
You picked three good ones. They're all good, but you picked three good ones. Yes. And I will say Adam Katz is extremely busy. They all are. The busier you are, the better you are at this, because the more immersed you are in your field. But all three of those people are deeply committed to their students, and I've seen it over the past couple of years. So thank you for giving us that little spotlight. And then we'll move on next to human resources, law, leadership, and policy, where we have co-directors. Rosemary Queenan is the Associate Dean for Student Affairs and a Professor of Law, and Mary Walsh Fitzpatrick is Assistant Dean of the Career and Professional Development Center. Welcome to you both. Whoever wants to take the question can take the question. And the question is, with this program still in its first year, we launched it in January, I would imagine, and I have spoken to students who have said this, that there's some hesitation when you're joining a new program, just simply due to its newness. Are all the kinks worked out? What have we done, and what are we continuing to do to ensure that this program launched with a modern and a curriculum that's applicable to the modern workplace and to hire exceptional faculty? Who wants to take that?
I'll give it a shot, Tom. Thank you. Thanks for having us here, and welcome to everyone who's joining us. So as you said, Tom, it was new, and really one of the first, a very unique program, one of the first HR graduate programs that really was taught from a legal lens. And so we did our homework. We started by doing some research. Specifically, we engaged a group of human resources and employment law leaders and experts in the human resources field and in various industries. And we got them together and met with them on multiple occasions to really get a sense of what the day-to-day issues they were dealing with were. And we had, lots of back and forth, multiple conversations, and we really looked at what would be most valuable for someone who was currently in an HR role, but was interested in advancing within that role. And what we heard often confirmed for us was that many of the issues that human resources professionals deal with are very much, have a very strong intersection with law and policy, right? And you can see this today as an example. Many human resources professionals are having to navigate a lot of health law issues due to the pandemic. So, and it comes up in many different contexts. There are often times where HR professionals are called upon to make decisions or take steps on issues that really have a very strong relationship to legal issues. And so this program, because it's taught through this legal lens, allows HR professionals to identify that, to know that there are many times where there is an intersection to law and policy. And then we engaged experts in the field of human resources and law who are teaching these courses based on the expertise that they have in human resources and employment law and labor law, along with the practical knowledge that they have in working through these issues and advising. A lot of them have a lot of experience advising human resources professionals. We were also granted SHRM Alliance because they recognized that our program was current, relevant, and addressed complex issues in human resources. So that's a little bit of what we've been doing, and we continue to do it. You know, the law changes often, these issues change often. And so we often seek guidance from this group of experts that we consulted.
Yeah, we sure do. And that spans all the programs. As I said to Dean Haynes earlier, we're always working on the programs. What that means on the ground is when the team in the online programs office works with these adjunct faculty who are practitioners, right, to prepare their course to reteach it the next time around. Every single time a course is retaught, there's a review, a collaborative review. Mechanically, is it functioning? That's one thing. But content-wise, is it up to date? Is it relevant? Are we assigning things to students that are more like a work product that they would perhaps be called upon to create in the workplace? And so we will continue to do that with this program, just as we've done with all the others, every single time a course is taught.
Absolutely.
And then to kind of piggyback on that, this is sort of I think you said, this is really a unique program offering. We have had students call us and ask us how this compares to an MBA or another degree program in an area like organizational development. What are your thoughts, you or Mary, on that?
Yeah, so Tom, I'll take that question. I think, you know, as Rosemary mentioned already, the distinction that our program offers from other programs, such as an MBA program or a program on organizational psychology, is that it allows the students to view HR issues through a legal lens, right? And the intent and advantage of being able to do that is that students, HR professionals, who hopefully will be our students, are often faced with issues that can either raise legal issues or otherwise require them to create a policy or a procedure in order to protect their company and employees and employers. So what this program provides is the opportunity for HR professionals to marry their firsthand knowledge of employer and employee relationships with the ability to create meaningful practices and policies and to become fluent in regulatory interpretation and risk assessment and feel really confident when they're interacting with their general counsel's office and confident when they're providing advice to their partners throughout a company or organization. So I think that's the main distinction between this program and other programs out there.
And so it's more about, I guess, increasing their stature, if you will, within the corporate structure, because they're often the first line of defense, as you've explained. So, you know, being at the corporate leadership table is what we like to say. Like, this is a program that is designed to make the HR leader matter at a greater level within the organization.
Well, I think you're right in the sense that it helps to equip someone who's looking to take the next step to maybe a chief talent officer position or another C-suite position to feel really empowered to be able to deal with issues that may have a legal component.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you both for that. And this brings us to our new program that, as I said earlier, we're launching in 2022, which is Government Affairs and Advocacy. And anyone who knows Albany Law School knows that we are deeply rooted in government. We have a government law center. It's one of our main centers, physical centers on campus. Lots of things going on the government side, whether it's federal, state, local government. Lots of adjunct faculty who have taught government courses for the JD program over the years. Lots of people contributing to this project, which we're really excited about. And as I said, it's a long time coming. But to talk about it tonight are the faculty program directors who are helping me build the online program, helping us build the online program, Professor Ava Ayers and Professor Alexandra Harrington. Welcome to you both. And not sure who wants to take the first question, but Here it is. As we are so excited to welcome our first cohort of students in 2022, can you describe the mix of interests and roles, both inside and outside of government, that you think might benefit from a program like this? In other words, who are our students going to be?
So, okay, I'll go and Alex, please step in if there's anything you want to add. So I think that as we've designed this program, we really started with the people that we knew in government and what they were telling us would be useful. And so what we're thinking is, to me, really two groups. One is somebody who's already working in the government space, which includes people who are working in legislative staff positions, people who are working in agencies, making policy, working in local government, or people who work in advocacy groups or lobbying groups where you're trying to influence government or policy. And whether you're already in that space or you're just interested in that space, I think there's a unique role for this degree, because a lot of people have realized you don't need a full law degree to be an effective advocate or government official and to do policy. But if you don't understand certain legal issues and skills and concepts, you're going to have to step back during a lot of the important conversations. I worked in government for about 10 years, both the state and federal level. And one of the things I saw was there's just certain conversations that only the people with legal knowledge can be part of. Do you need to know how the rules of evidence work in a courtroom? No, because that's not what people in government do. But this master's program, I think, will prepare people either to enter government and to get the skills that they need to be effective there, or government or advocacy or lobbying. Or if you're already a legislative staff person and you're tired of being left out of the important meetings, or if you're in a lobbying firm and you want to really get into the bill drafting and be able to make a difference, we've designed this program to give you those skills and that knowledge.
Absolutely. And I think we've also designed it in a way that is accessible across the various spectrums, and where you can learn from both perspectives. So there will be tracks, and you can pick a government track or a legislative, like lobbying type of track or nonprofit track. But at the same time, we will allow some crossover, and that will allow for someone who is perhaps interested in lobbying or nonprofit work to take a course or two in government and understand who they are lobbying or who they're talking to and what their perspectives are. So the idea is to really give a holistic availability of classes to make you as well-rounded as possible in a master's degree or an LL.M program, where the answers that we may be giving you are things that seem at first a bit evident, but when you get really underneath, are much more complex and are much more indicative of the layers of government, especially in New York, where we have such a very complex system of law itself.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely agree with that. And you kind of hinted on what the course structure will look like. But my next question for either one of you is, when we're deciding what topics to teach, what courses to offer, how are we going about doing that?
Oh, we are meeting each other every week and figuring it out on a very large whiteboard. But what we're actually, and we are, but what we're actually really doing is trying to design this with the idea of what are the critical skills? What do you need to know? And what then may be of interest to you, but what do you need to know? If someone comes into your office, and this is always Ava's example, so I really want to make sure that she gets credit for it. If someone comes into your office and says to you as an LL.M holder, for example, you know, we need to file an Article 78, or someone is filing an Article 78, we want you to know what that means. And we want you to have a sense of how to respond to that. And we really want to make sure that you have all of the skill sets that you need. So when we're designing courses not only with specific topics in mind, but also skill sets that will go through each of the courses to make sure that there are constant threads. And when you come out, you are very strong in all of those areas. And I'm sure Eva wants to add more.
Yeah, well, I thought that was great. And I would just add that, you know, one of the things that we're blessed with at the law school is the Government Law Center and a host of connections and alumni in the world of government who've been helping us to plan, not just what makes sense in the abstract, but what do people need on the ground, practically speaking. The Government Law Center has an advisory board that's made up of government officials and lobbyists from all areas of government. And we've had a lot of conversations with them over time about what skills and knowledge our students need to be successful in government. We've built a class for JD students incorporating that work, and we're building it in here as well. And I think something people should know is that, when you're an online master's student, you're a member of our community and we're a resource for you for life. And so all of those connections that the Government Law Center can help make for you, that our Alumni Network has for you, those are going to be at your disposal. So, we've been drawing on them in the same way that our students and our alums draw on them, asking people for their wisdom and advice. And I do think that some of the things you need to know are surprising to be effective in government. I'll just give one example, which is how the state budget process works. Right? It's very different in New York State from how it is elsewhere. In the federal government, we're currently watching the struggle over the BIF and the BBB, the different bills that are pending, right? And I think everybody's maybe more aware this week than they usually are, that if you understand how that process works, you have a kind of power that other people don't have. It's the same thing in New York State. If you understand how that legislative budget processing works, even if you never thought you were going to care about money, you have a kind of power that others don't. And we have, as a member of our advisory board, the state budget director who actually runs that process. So we get to benefit from that wisdom, and we're using it to put together the courses. Frankly, it's a lot of fun.
It is. I enjoy working with both of you very much on this. And I will say I've learned so much about how important the budget process is, even if you're outside government and you're trying to advocate. So you're working for a nonprofit or some sort of community organization. You're not going to be successful unless you understand the inner workings of that budget process, that cycle, right? That's sort of the lesson number one that I picked up. So thank you for that. So that rounds out our faculty panel tonight. We are grateful that all of you were able to join us and to share your insights. And we want to thank you for your enthusiasm toward, as I hope we've laid out for the audience, continual improvement, high quality, rigor, career-focused programming. So thank you, faculty, for that. You can certainly hang out for the rest of the we got about a half an hour left. You're more than welcome to stay, but you can also go. I know some of you actually do have to teach tonight, so you can head off to that if you need to. And if there are any specific student questions related to your discipline or program, we can certainly relay those to you. So thank you. So Allison, did you want me to jump right into the next session about the course experience?
Yeah, that would be great. And I think as long as some of our faculty are here with us, I just want to encourage, if you have questions that you would hope to be answered by a faculty member, pop it into chat. If there's a particular faculty member that's still here online, you can address it to them, but absolutely utilize this resource. But Tom, if you can continue on, that'd be fantastic.
Great. So I will ask Ben to put up the slide that we have prepared. Let's see, there you go. Yep, that one. So we want to provide a quick snapshot of what our classes are like, because all online learning is not the same, right? There's asynchronous, there's synchronous, there's highly engaging, there's more self-paced. So what I'm going to go through is some of the bullet points on this slide to give you a sense of what ours is like. Our courses are 7 weeks long, which means we can fit 7 sessions around the calendar year, which means you can begin when it's most convenient for you. You can begin at any one of those 7 sessions, 6 sessions, sorry, 7-week courses, 6 of them around the calendar year. As I said, we're fully asynchronous by design, and we did that because we know that you are likely looking to fit this into your already busy life, quite frankly. That's the adult and the returning market, and we designed our courses around that. But you will find yourself engaged not only with the practical, rich content that we provide, but also, as folks have alluded to your professors and classmates within the discussion boards. We do limit our classes to 20. I have not seen a class go over that, and I don't think we would allow it, because we want to ensure a close-knit and supportive learning community is maintained throughout all of these programs. Faculty are asked to accompany their grading with substantive feedback that allows you to grow individually. So again, whether you're near the bottom of the ladder, near the top of the ladder, lawyer, non-lawyer, you should be growing in your classes. And we're proud to say that nearly every single one of our faculty in our online programs across all of the programs actually are active professionals. Vast majority of them hold a JD. And when we ask our students what they value in their experience and in their program, the number one response we see is having access to those caring, engaged faculty who can really help form the foundation for a great professional network, quite frankly, even beyond the course. And we've seen it happen time and time again. So a typical week will include reading, watching video lectures, doing the asynchronous discussion. This is not discussion like we're doing now. It's discussion on a like a forum. So you're doing it in your own time, but within a weekly cycle. There might be some practical assignments. For example, there might be a hypothetical, a scenario that's posed where you've been given the role of privacy officer or HR director or compliance analyst, and you're asked to write a memo on a security breach or some other issue relevant to the course topic to course leadership. So that's kind of like the real world practical assignments that we strive to put in all of our courses. And then we try to give, on a fairly routine basis, some opportunity for self-reflection. Because it's so fast-paced, week by week goes by, and these courses are only 7 weeks, we have to give you a chance to stop and say, what did you learn? And how has it affected your career? How will it affect your career? How are you going to use this knowledge? And that is truly the closing of the loop on the learning process. So that's important to us. We have classes in all of our programs that are 3-credit classes. That's what you would typically expect. And then we have 1-credit classes, which should be about 1/3 of the amount of work and 1/3 the topics in scope. We do that so that students can double up and take a 3-credit class and a 1-credit class at the same time each session. And that's how an LL.M can finish their entire degree in 12 months and a master's student in a little over a year. In terms of time, we call it time on task, time per week. So because these are condensed sessions into 7 weeks, if you're taking a 1-credit class, you might find yourself spending 5 to 7 hours a week on all things related to that class, reading, participating, etc. And you would triple that for a 3-credit class. So, finding the time to fit in 15 to 18 perhaps hours of time on a 3-credit class on a weekly basis is another reason why it needs to be asynchronous. We need to let you do it in your pockets of time. But they're serious, whole classes. Just because they're 7 weeks doesn't mean they're somehow truncated in quality and rigor. So now I want to switch, Ben, if we can, to the slide on program requirements. I'm just going to go over this. That one. Thank you. Briefly. So just to reiterate what most folks already know, but perhaps you don't. In each of the discipline areas that we mentioned, cyber, financial, health, HR, government affairs, all of them, there's a 30-credit master's program. There's a 24-credit LL.M option, and there's a 9-credit advanced certificate. So the 30-credit master's program requires you to take an introduction to law and legal methods for non-lawyers course. This sets the foundation to the U.S. legal system, as well as research skills as applied to the law. So the professor of that course will go into the basics of the Constitution, etc. But we'll also go into the online databases that are used not only in academics, but also by lawyers in the field. So Bloomberg, Westlaw, Lexis, all of these great resources that we have access to, you're going to hear about in a little bit. That course is a requirement for the master's program. And then you would take at least 18 credits within your chosen discipline area. And then you would take a thesis course, which is the capstone culminating writing project to round out your degree. And that leaves you a little bit of room for some electives, which can be taken from any of the other program tracks. The LL.M is 24 credits. It does still require 18 credits within the chosen discipline area. It doesn't require an intro to law and legal methods because you're already a lawyer, but it does also require the thesis. And then the advanced certificate is designed to be as flexible as possible for somebody who doesn't need or want the full degree program, but wants to, I might say, dabble into a field of study. So 9 credits within any of the discipline areas earns you an advanced certificate. So those are the program requirements. And I think now I would like to turn things over. Finally, you're sick and tired of hearing from me, I think, to my colleague, Nicole Casale, the Senior Admissions Recruiter and Counselor, who's going to talk a little bit about student resources. Nicole?
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see some familiar faces. So yes, definitely Albany Law School has a really unique alumni network that is the first resource that I like to present to all of the interested students out there, or prospective students, is that we have a very extensive network of alumni. We have actually a lot of alumni that work at Albany Law School, which is really awesome. So there are a lot of faculty out there that have graduated from us that are available to assist you with your studies and assist you with finding a variety of things that you need. So for example, we have Tom Hemstock on our call today, and he is the Research, Instruction, and Acquisitions Librarian. And he is the #1 resource that I point all of the students to for research assistance, Bloomberg, et cetera, et cetera. So he is here today to talk about the library.
Well, thank you for the introduction. So my role in the program is to provide support for you. So you may be thinking about a certificate or a master's, and you've never read a case before. Well, can show you how to research cases, statutes, Westlaw, Lexis, Bloomberg. We have thousands and thousands of ebooks available in our collection. So I've done one-on-one Zoom support for students with that. If it's been a while since you've been in a library and your house is going to work virtually, I am here for that support. If you're thinking about an LL.M, you're already an attorney, I can show you what has changed in legal research, hopefully introduce you to some new things. So I won't go in too super in depth, but basically, sometimes there's anxiety with students. Oh no, how am I going to do all this research? I'm not familiar with legal research. That's what the library's role in this program is. So it's very easy to think, oh, library, books on a shelf. Yes, we have that, but we also have that one-on-one research support where it could just be as simple as, boy, I'm trying to figure out how to get the citation pulled up. Or it could be like, wow, I want to come up with a research plan to work on this thesis for my master's degree. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to email me the details, but thank you, and I look forward to seeing you.
Thanks so much, Tom. We appreciate it. So next up is another fabulous resource we have. Mary Walls Fitzpatrick, she's the Assistant Dean and Career and Professional Development Center, and we point all of our students that are in the middle of their degree or towards the end of their degree looking for some career assistance, job placement, et cetera, that all gets funneled to Mary. So we'll allow her to talk about that for you guys.
Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, so as everyone has heard a little bit about by now, we have an incredibly robust JD alumni network, and that network is very interested in the success of all of our students across all of our programs. In addition, I think what's really unique about these programs is the access that they afford our students to professionals in the field through connections to the faculty teaching in the programs. That has proven to be remarkably useful for our students looking to change careers and also to level up. Also, our office provides access to individualized career counseling for all of our students across all programs and provides career development resources for our students, including with crafting resumes, cover letters, and creating a competitive application package for whatever it is that you're interested in pursuing.
Thank you. That's also so good information to hear. And lastly, I also would like to point out that we have a student bar association on campus that is also accessible for all of our online students if they'd like to participate. So on this call, we have today Marissa Hochberg, who is the SBA secretary, and she will talk a little bit about what it means to be a part of the SBA.
Hi, everybody. I am the executive secretary of the Student Bar Association at the school. The Student Bar Association oversees clubs and activities on campus and is the principal channel of communication between the student body and the faculty and administration here on campus. The organization allocates funding for student organizations and events through student activities fees. SBA is a resource for all students, including those participating in the online master's program. The organization is directed by a legislative body of student representatives. There is a senator position for master's students that I would be happy to answer more questions about, or if you want to know a little bit more about it. Many clubs are also currently hosting Zoom meetings and activities more frequently due to the pandemic, which would be easily accessible to you. And I'm sure during the winter that'll be happening a lot more as well. I would be happy to speak with you about SBA or just about the clubs in general that we have on campus. If you have any questions or want to connect further, Allison or Tom can give you my contact information. So please let me know. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks so much, Marissa. We appreciate it. And before I turn over, I would like to also say that we have an online student cafe for all of our prospective Albany Law School students and our existing students for the online graduate programs. It's just a place collectively where a lot of faculty or individuals such as myself will share upcoming events and other ways for you to be connected with the other individuals in the classes. So it's just a nice place to connect if you have Facebook. And if you're on this now, feel welcome to connect as well. And right now we have Allison Rosenblatt, who will be talking about our admissions processes, and she is currently the Assistant Director of Admissions.
Thank you. What wonderful information. I mean, I want to go through the admissions process and attend some of these programs. So basically, I just want to talk to you about the process. And one of the things is that we here in the admissions office are able to help you through this process. And that the first thing is really identifying which program that you're qualified for, that you're looking into, whether it's the LL.M, the master's, or their certificate program. And so when you submit your application, you want to make sure that that's properly identified. We can start at any term. So there are 6 term starts per year. And when we're talking about the discipline, whether it's looking, into the health law program or cybersecurity as examples, that there's a little flexibility if you apply to one discipline and you change your mind. And sometimes there are students who change their mind during the application process to look into a different program, a different discipline. And there's also sometimes there's students that change their mind once they actually become students because maybe they've taken a 1-credit course in something else. So when you're going through the admissions process, it's really important to identify whether it's LL.M, MS, or certificate, and we can work with you through the disciplines. But we really want to see you applying for that appropriate program so that we understand where that best fit is and that you are truly on a path towards your academic and career goals. We do have all of our applications are through the LSAC, that you will apply through LSAC. The website is lsac.org. And whether you're an LL.M, MS, or advanced certificate student, it is all through our LL.M site. They have phenomenal support system there. So they're there to assist us and assist you through that process. I know there are some applicants here tonight that have utilized those services, and we've been able to see their application come right through, which is great. And so the components of your application is your completed application, and then also your document assembly, which results in a credential assembly report. If we can go to the next slide of complete the application process, that'd be great. So the application process. So the first part is submit what we call an e-app, and it's your application, and that you do have to make sure you're properly identifying if it is LL.M, MS, or the advanced certificate. And then we're also going to ask you to include a statement of interest answering why is Albany Law School your choice, why is this program your choice, and how will this program advance your career and objectives. This really gives us the chance to kind of make sure that based upon your statement that you're applying towards the proper program. And oftentimes we do counsel students to say, hey, have you thought of this, or have you looked at this, or this might be a better fit. So this really helps our students through that. We ask for a resume so we can see what you're doing currently. We do not have an application fee. So if at any point that it is asking you to pay to apply through our application, we do have a fee waiver. Please email us in admissions and we can send you a coupon code for that. The next part is the document assembly service. And this is your transcripts. So we will request your transcripts from all institutions that you've attended. And I don't believe the LSAC website has been updated yet, but they do receive transcripts electronically. And so I think that their website still says mail us in. So as long as your school, when you're requesting your transcripts from your institution, has a drop-down box and it says LSAC, you can send all of your documents electronically. Everything will go through LSAC. In addition, if you're an international student, you will also be able to submit all your documents through LSAC using the International Transcript Authentication and Evaluation Service. And so really, that's really beneficial because you don't have to get an outside translation. It happens all at once and then will come to us completed. Our process in January, we are going to be asking for requiring one letter of recommendation. For right now, we're just requesting, it's optional, but it's recommended. And the letters of recommendation really give us a chance to learn more about you making sure that you're prepared for the program and also that our program is the right fit for you. Currently, we do not require any standardized test scores. They are optional. And so if you have you've taken an LSAT or you have a GRE and you want to share that. I have some students who have I've done phenomenal on these standardized testing and I want to add that. That's fantastic. You're more than welcome to, but it certainly isn't required and it's not going to hold up your application. So throughout this process, you can submit your application, your statement of interest, and your resume, even if you're still waiting for the remaining part of your file, your transcripts, on your letter of recommendation. So you can at least get the application in first, and then the remaining part, join that. I do want to let you know that there are some fees associated with the DAS, or the Document Assembly Service, as well as the CAS report. And those are fees that are determined by LSAC. We don't have a waiver for that, unfortunately. You could request from LSAC if they do have any type of fee waivers from them for you, but those would be the expenses that you would incur from them. But once again, we do not have an application fee from our school in order to help lower that cost for our students. And the nice thing with LSAC is that if you are applying to multiple law schools, you usually only have to submit your transcripts to one location, and it really makes that process easier for students. We have a strong holistic review holistic approach to our review. Our students are given all of their acceptances and correspondence via email, so you'll want to check that. And we also have usually about a week turnaround on our files. It just depends on kind of where you are in that cycle. But certainly if you had any questions about any of this process, you can let us know. And, Nicole and I are really here to help you through that. And we'll follow up and let you know if we're missing documents and what we still need. If we can go to the next slide regarding scholarships and financial aid. And so I'm going to touch base upon the tuition, scholarships, and financial aid. You can see our tuition and our master's and advanced certificate costs are all listed here. The LL.M and master's program is shown the cost with scholarship. Our advanced certificates, I would like to know that with our advanced certificate that financial aid is not available. However, we do have financial aid available through our LL.M and to our MS students as well. And basically, if you're starting the process and you've applied or you've just started and you're thinking, well, I really want to make sure that I have the ability to afford this, how can I do this? You can start having conversations with our director of financial aid and have those conversations about how to finance your education. You don't have to wait until you're accepted. And you really want to complete your FAFSA, and that will, once you're accepted, that will enable our financial aid officer to actually see what your FAFSA is and access that to give you more of a stronger picture regarding your financial abilities. We do have scholarships that are automatically considered for our students when they're accepted. And so now, I'm just going to check the chat, see if we have any. So now I'd like to turn it back to Tom as we are approaching the end here and hopefully have a time for some questions if any students have that.
Yeah, before I give closing remarks and let everybody out for the evening, let me ask the crowd if anyone has any questions. You can use the raise hand feature. You can turn your webcam on if you want, and we'll be happy to take questions. I know this can be a kind of an intimidating environment to do so, but don't be shy.
I actually ask a question, or just I had a question. I would like to put it out there. This is actually for Allison. So I have a student or prospective student that is looking to get their transcripts translated. Is that a service that is offered by LSAC?
Yes, so if you have international transcripts or they have to be translated in any way, you submit those into LSAC and they will take care of that. There are other services such as WES, that can sometimes do that, but you do not have to do that step, translate it, and then sell it to LSAC. You can have it directly from your institution directly to LSAC to fully get translated.
What else?
And I did notice that there's a question in the chat regarding scholarships. So if you, on our website, our tuition and scholarship is listed on our website. So that is the information that if you're getting a merit scholarship as during the time of review. On our financial aid page, and I believe that we just, more about aid, so just 2 minutes or a minute ago, that link will actually tell you about the various financial aid and scholarship opportunities that we know of through the law school. And so certainly if you do, we also have an employer reimbursement. So if you are working for somebody who does employer reimbursement, we have a form that you can fill out so you can utilize that reimbursement as well. But those are some resources as far as outside scholarship, in addition to the merit scholarship that if you're accepted student, you would receive.
I would add, Allison, we don't want to see somebody go through the entire application and credential assembly process and all of this, and it could take weeks perhaps, and then hit a wall with finances. So have that conversation with us early. We're always trying to see what we can do for students. So if the program is right for you and the finances are not, we want to try to make that right. Now, we can't promise anything, but we do want to try to make that right, because we want to offer the best programming to the students who are most interested in it.
And we do work with students who are veterans. And so we do have programming as well. That would be something that you would want to speak with our director of financial aid exactly to what levels, yellow ribbon, post 9/11, like all of those programming, how we work with our veterans. But we do have a strong veteran population at the law school as well. And every time I talk to our director of financial aid, she just makes it sound so easy. And, I had a student who told me, I took out the wrong loan. I had more money in an unsubsidized loan versus the subsidized. She caught it and reached out to me to say, hey, I think you should switch your allocations on your loans. So you really have the support from our director of financial aid. You're not going to go it alone at all.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I mean. And the veterans is a good example. The veterans program, you may not know what's out there, so we can help you navigate that. Other last questions from anybody? Okay, well, we're not going anywhere. So if you have a question that comes up later tonight or at any point in the future, don't hesitate to reach out. And I guess what I would leave you with as a final thought is just that we know that a lot goes into choosing a program. First, you're committing to going back to school or continuing school. That's a big decision to make. Next, you're taking the leap and committing to an online program. That can be a big decision to make. Then you're trying to find the right online program to meet your needs and interests and career goals. And on top of that is the cost value proposition, right? So each of these things is a major hurdle, and we know that it takes time, and we want you to know that we're here to help you work through that, whether or not Albany Law School ends up being the right fit for you. This exceptional team who you see here today, Allison and Nicole and others, want to have those conversations and help you figure it out. So please don't hesitate to ask as many questions as you need to ask of the team, and we will help you along the way to find out if we're to determine whether you're making the right decision by choosing us. So thank you, everybody. And we look forward to talking to all of you in the near future. I want to thank again the faculty who attended tonight. And if we do receive any, as I said, if we receive any follow-up questions for the faculty, we'll be sure to relay those so you can get those questions answered as well. So we can stick around for a few moments. If anyone wants to ask any questions in more of a private setting, that's totally fine. We'll stick around. Otherwise, please have a good evening. No questions. Okay. All right. Thanks, team. Great job. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Any questions? No?
I'm gonna head off. We're certainly here in the admissions office, so those of you who are left, if you do have any questions for us, just let us know. Feel free to reach out to our office. You can book an appointment with us. But thank you so much for joining us.
Bye-bye.